What's up, guys? In case you haven't noticed, I'm doing a different type of video today, more of a rant tangent type of thing, discussion if you will. So I've been seeing a lot of videos pop up recently about how broken or overpowered Thrill of the Hunt is, yet I haven't seen much talk of Shoulder the Burden, like, at all, which I find very funny considering this perk can literally prevent a death from happening, and I find that much more broken and problematic than anything. Like, don't get me wrong, Throw the Hunt is a pretty solid perk now, but are you forgetting what happens to hexes usually? They last like maybe 2 or 3 minutes before they're just gone, and then poof, done. That's it. There goes your perk slot you just brought in, by the way, because, you know, that just makes sense. This buff just makes it to where your hexes can actually get a bit more value as opposed to just being gone within minutes. This is usually the thing that bugs me, and if it's like we finally have a different like shake-up in the meta or something newer for killers, it just gets gutted. Because a lot of players say, oh, it's too strong, and it's just, like, why? Why? Like, why, though? Like, it's just very apparent. Like, I've seen the same thing with Xenomorph and, like, Ultimate Weapon. Oh, it's too broken, it's too powerful. I'm like, but it's a new perk. It's not a part of the meta. It's not gen defense. It just gives you info so you can go to chases more. Like, that's what it did. So that's now just nerfed to the ground to where no one uses it. There we go. And then Weave of Attunement happened, which I admit, pretty strong combo, but it still moves away from gen defense. It's different. But it's just, I don't know. It's very annoying. I'm just like doing that. It just seems like people just want to go against gen defense only. Like, I'm serious, man. It's like nobody just wants to have variety in the game anymore and just overreacts or overstates something on how busted something is. Mainly content creators are responsible for this, but it still just annoys the hell out of me because it just creates this echo chamber from their fans to get it pushed to being nerfed. I know people are going to say, well, influencers don't affect the devs' decisions. You're overreacting. Shoulder the Burden is literally Oddstarva's idea that came to the game. Given it's not exactly how he wanted it, as he wanted it base kit, but the end function of it is pretty much the same as it was just meant to trade hook states, which is what it does, which is huge, very huge, and detrimental to the game. Like, it is like not an understatement in that, like, at all. Influencers do have an effect towards Dead by Daylight, and I'm kind of tired of pretending like it's not, considering some of those creators are consultants. It's just really odd or weird to me how a lot of people are just stating how Thrill the Hunt is problematic, yet none of them address Shoulder the Burden, like, at all. It just comes off as odd and disingenuous to me. I've also noticed how killer players have just been having to deal with so much shit. Like, just these past 2 years alone. Like, here we go. Let's list off. 1, base kit BT. Survivors just get a, like, free perk. Just because why not? You know? Base kit anti-camp. So the survivor can just unhook themselves. Basically like Deliverance. If the killer's just hovering around there. Gen regression limit. You can only tap the gen 8 times. You can only tap it 8 times. And this was brought into the game because of problematic killers like Skull Merchant and maybe Singularity, like a bit, but mainly Skull Merchant was the case for that. So because of a couple killers, everyone gets to suffer because of that. I'm like, what? Why though? Why? And that they also gave survivors a HUD. It's helpful, don't get me wrong, like it gives solo queue helpful plans, but nonetheless, this is still a buff to survivor. Like, that's what killers have been having to deal with these past 2 years. Like, all that. It's just wild, man. But there's just been so many things lately, like, going against killer players that are just going to give new players who want to try killer and not even want to try because of how much of a headache it is to deal with. Like, can we have a little, like, killer HUD for killers? That would be nice to see how many hook states, like, we have towards the survivors. That'd be pretty nice and cool for beginner killers mainly. Mainly beginner killers. I know people who are already, like, experienced in the game, like, understand the hook states and everything like that. But in terms of, like, newer players, being a new killer is, like, stressful as hell, man. Like, it is just so overwhelming. Like, you start off with basically no perks most of the time. And you're trying to learn the game, and then it's just, like, a whole stressful mess to deal with. But for experienced killers, they don't have to deal with that too much. But I'd say, like, can killers get a HUD finally to keep track of hooks? Give newer killer players, like, something? I don't know. I'm just tired of like seeing this narrative throw the hunt OP nerf it now when it barely just came out, and it's actually giving Hexus time to shine. Let's actually have some variety in the game and let people try new things and shake up the meta and have a good time doing so. Yeah. Sorry. It just worries me with how the direction of the game will be going, and I don't like or feel how some content creators can just get things nerfed. I just look the other way when it comes to something clearly stock and problematic, and then go after something that's decent for killer players. Yeah. Anyways, that'll be it for this tangent I've had. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you agree with some of the things I said, or do you disagree about some of the things I said? Let me know anyways. With that being said, thank you guys for watching the video. I really appreciate it. You all have an awesome day, and I'll talk to you all amazing people later. Peace.